Welcome back to Straight Facts on Wednesday. I'm joined by Henry Wright, who is a late substitution. We didn't want to use him. We asked 10 other people. They were all busy, but Potsy isn't here. So in the end, we just decided that me and LB said we'll settle for Henry Wright. He can't even grow a beard like we can, but he's here with us today. LB's here as well, as usual on a Tuesday. How are you both, gents? You both well and good?
Good, man. Mate. Decent, and somehow we're both in a position where we could win a trophy this year, which is mad considering how bad we've been. But big up Henry, big up Terry, and big up the chat, innit?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. You know, there could be a world where in 2 weeks' time, us two mugs here, that way, sorry, wrong way. Us two mugs are in a final. We're shit. I don't know if we will make it. Spurs should still. Bodoe Glimt got half their team fucking missing. Legit. After team missing, but we'll get onto that a little bit more later in the show. Some big transfer stories to go through today. A Viktor Gyökeres done deal has been reported. Spurs having zero transfer budget, according to reports this summer, without selling players. We're looking at Wirtz to Man City. Is there a spanner in the works with that one? Plus a big question for the audience. Does Moisés Caicedo regret not joining Liverpool? We want your thoughts and we want your opinions on that in the comments section below if you're watching the playback, or you can just press the timestamp, go to that section of the show. First story I want to touch on, though. First story for you. I need to get a Spurs fan's perspective. They've been very hard to find since Sunday. No match reaction, guys. But what did you make of this, bruv? What did you make of this, Henry? Spurs fans celebrating getting beaten 5-1?
To be brutally honest with you, mate, that's a fucking disgrace. I actually know the two guys holding the flags, and they make their own flags up every season. But that is an absolute embarrassment. You know, we're singing about Arsenal bottling the league after we've just had our 19th Premier League defeat. 19 defeats. And our manager's still here, but our fans are more obsessed than Arsenal losing a league title. So if Arsenal go and win the Champions League, are we then going to get a flag out and congratulate them? Like, our fan base in general is just an absolute embarrassment. Like that comment there, small club energy. Like we're so focused on every single other fan base other than ourselves. You know, Liverpool have scored something like 15 goals against us this season. It's a joke, mate. You know, it's an absolute joke. And then to top that all off, at the boxing, you know, the one of the fighters walked out to North London forever. Whoever in the music box has approved that should be sacked. You know, imagine at the Etihad, you know, if they hosted a boxing event and singing about George Best or Glory, Glory, Manchester
United. United Road being played. Yeah.
Mate, it just goes to show you that Tottenham care about every single thing other than what's on the pitch. It's all about the revenue streams. It's all about building a brand. You know, the boxing, the main guy out in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia has just basically said that most of the boxing fights now will be at Tottenham Stadium rather than Wembley, which is just more runny. They're talking about hosting a pay-per-view WWE event at Tottenham's ground. It's just shambles. And you look at our team, we're the Bonnie Blue of the Premier League. We're getting run through by every single team. 19 defeats, Terry. We conceded 4 against Wolves. And our fan base, as we're going away to Liverpool, have got a flag out talking about Arsenal. If that doesn't tell you where we are as a club and how our fan base's attention are elsewhere, then I don't know what is. And if we don't win the Europa League, it's the worst season in our history.
Why has it not been sacked then yet? Why has it not been sacked then yet? Because we sit here, right, and we talk about sacking other managers all the time. We talk about sacking Arteta, right? But at least Arteta's finishing second, which I know you still don't get a trophy for. This guy, has got you 16th in the Premier League. 16th.
Yeah.
And he's still managing your football club.
And if we lose this weekend, LB, to West Ham, which is likely.
And your fans have got flags out at Liverpool mocking Arsenal when you're 16th in the league. I said this on a recent stream. I don't know whose show it was, I don't know what there is as a Spurs fan really to be like positive about the long-term future, because the only thing you've got going for you now is this Europa League final. Yeah, if you get there, because Premier League, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be like over the top here. I don't see you winning the Premier League in the next 10 years. Yeah, because like with the money with the money that City have got, the money that Chelsea have got, the money that these guys have got, and actually willing to spend, you ain't getting. So you're never going to win the Premier League in the next 10 years, obviously, unless you get bought out, right? Then obviously things changes. You sacked your manager before a cup final, Jose Mourinho, before the Carabao Cup final against Manchester City. One of probably the best managers in world football that you could have managing against Pep Guardiola in a one-off game in Jose Mourinho, which is pretty embarrassing. And then put that other guy in charge. Can't remember his name. You've got this guy in Ange. You're currently 16th. Don't sack him. I just look at Spurs and I see you as a club that just is existing with no purpose, no soul, no nothing. I'm not trying to dig the Spurs fans. It's not their fault that this is happening, right? Although maybe they protest more to get this manager out. I don't know. But I just look at Spurs, and with every club you look at Villa, you see a forward path. All right, obviously this season, if they don't finish in the Champions League, they might see that as a bit of a disappointment. But you see a forward path. You look at Newcastle, you see a forward path. You even look at Chelsea. And how many times have we cooked Chelsea on this show, Terry? Yeah, we even look at Chelsea, and even Chelsea, who are not doing particularly great, you see a slight progression, even if it's minimal. Spurs, I just don't see anything at all. It's Spurs Football Club that would give me any sort of thing to get excited. I don't know what that club is doing, you know. And the thing is as well, it'll be charging top money for tickets, yeah, because obviously it's a big London, yeah, of course they are, big London club, so all the ticket prices will be going up, yeah. You buy mediocre players or players for growth rather than players for the here and now, and then when they eventually get good, you end up selling them by a rare one or two. I just don't. I think honestly, you hear this nonsense on mainstream media, yeah. And if anyone says it on YouTube, I'll call them out as well. That Spurs are the best run club in the country. They're not the best run club in the country. They're not the best run club in the country. How can they be the best run club in the country?
I only say that
because they make a bit of money and they've got a little bit of profit and they have a nice stadium. The best run club in the country. They're shambles, man. They're 16th in the league. They spent about 200, 300 million under Ange. They've still not sacked the manager, and they are hoping and praying that they win this Europa League to salvage any sort of just pride or anything to avoid the embarrassing season that it is. Ridiculous.
LB, do you think if we bring in another manager, this group of players are better than 16th?
Of course, they're better than 16th, man.
Well, okay, so where would you pass?
Mid-table?
What?
Top 8? Top 8, something like that. Yeah, you're telling me that team's worse than Bournemouth?
I've been saying this since September. If you gave us Thomas Frank, we are light years better than 16th. I'd put us about 8th or 7th.
Where did you finish last year?
5th.
Right, so there you go then. This team should be minimum. This team should be top 8. Absolute minimum. Yeah, minimum. Now I don't rate some of the players, but come on, man. Like they're not absolute trash. Like they are good enough to get top 8. This manager is failing on a gigantic scale, and he's still there.
If we win the Europa League, obviously we'll get Champions League football. I think in the Champions League next season under this manager, we are going to get, if we come up against City, Madrid, or anyone like that, we are going to get absolutely steamrolled.
Can I ask you guys a question? I actually hear what you're saying there, LB. Spurs fans are being striped up for the amount of money they have to pay, but actually there's very little going on at the club. Not much ambition in many people's minds. There is no light at the end of the tunnel. I was saying to you guys backstage, I was watching a lot of Chelsea fan TV at the weekend, and they're interviewing. And by the way, they're interviewing a lot of fans who, for what it's worth, I don't think have any desires to become viral superstars, become famous. They're saying how they truly feel. And I actually think 90% of people that do fan cams are like that. But nearly every single Chelsea fan, by and large, I'm paraphrasing into one group, but it was, yeah, we won, but you know, the best thing today was it was sunny. Yeah, don't care if we make it into the Champions League. You've got Man United fans who feel very similar. That they don't trust Ineos. They're not liking how things are going at their club, as an example. You take those three. Do you feel that maybe why the season Do you think that's why maybe they're and those three fan bases are huge. We know they're huge, right? They take up a big part. Do you think that's one of the reasons maybe why there's a lot of people that have switched off from football this last few months? Not only because their team's not having a great season, but they don't actually see a future where it's going to get much better. Our Chelsea, our Man United, our Spurs fans all looking at this and saying, well, where we are now and what's happened this season, unless things drastically change, I don't see any way out because none of our clubs. And look, I've got some hope around Man United, so forget my view on United for a minute. I'm talking the general view here. But it seems to me like a lot of people just don't believe they're going to move forward like Villa have, like Newcastle have, like even like the Forest have. And it's just, Arsenal, I think, will be better in the league next season. City, I'm certain they will be. Liverpool are going to challenge again after keeping the players they did. But I just feel like maybe fans are realizing, we're done in terms of a top 16. Yeah, we're done in terms of challenging.
Yeah. It also doesn't help that this Premier League season has been one of the worst I've ever seen. In terms of, well, you've had no title race from about November, December. You've had no relegation race. So that does not help. And people try and glaze it and gas it up with the top 5 race. No one cares, really. No one really cares that much. It's not that exciting. No one really cares. And then on top of that, you have what you just said about the cup. You have a few teams in there that they don't see a positive sort of future. Do you know what I mean? And then you can see that, on top of that, you got match day fans who are getting absolutely shafted with ticket prices, and they're not being rewarded with the best players in the world. It's easier to the prices that people are paying nowadays. It's easier to stomach that when you're watching the best players in the world. But when you're watching Solanke and Brennan Johnson, right? And I've got maybe a couple at my club. You've definitely got some at your club, Terry, or Ireland and that. People
How
are
dare you?
People are just switching off, man. And I feel that it's there. If a team like Newcastle, wants to be serious, they could easily win a couple of Premier Leagues in the next few years, because there's a number of teams in this league that are not serious. They're not bothered about winning. They're bothered about maybe making a bit of money out of the Champions League. That's all they're asked about.
That article about we can't spend any money. Oh, we haven't got any money.
Well, just to bring that in, we'll put it up on the screen now. This article has come out yesterday, in the Telegraph, and it stated that Tottenham are facing the prospect of having to sell to buy this summer, despite the fact the club could spend over 200 million without breaching PSR. So it's the way this reads to me, and I'd like you to break it down for us, please, Henry. You've got the money to spend without breaching PSR, but your club are essentially saying, we will only spend what we sell. What's this all about?
This is the thing with Daniel Levy. I think we could even do even more than that. I see something from Ali Gold saying we can do close to 300 million. I think the only team in the Premier League that have got the same level of FFP and PSR levels is Man City. And that's because they are such a good club at selling players. But the fact that we are 16th and we're potentially going to choose not to improve this squad. I mean, if we sack Ange Postecoglou for not winning the Europa League, we've got to pay him something like £10 million. And then to improve, we spent 220 million quid on Solanke, Richarlison, Brennan Johnson and Odegaard. That is diabolical recruitment. They don't even get on City's bench. I mean, that is how bad we are when it comes to running as a football club. But the fact that we aren't going to even go and look at spending money to improve this squad. I mean, how we're trying to blow that stadium up, I don't know. All this change for Tottenham stuff is going into, obviously. That's just
Football Terrace does not endorse that message. I have to put that out there for legal reasons. But going back to you, Henry.
How we're not, there's not more anger, frustration in our fan base. We're all just half of the fan base are just sitting there clapping this up. Oh, we're going to win the Europa League. Okay, and let's say we get to the final. Let's say we go out to Bilbao and play Man United or Bilbao. And what happens if we then lose? What is there to be positive about for Tottenham? If we're not even going to go and spend money and you look at actually selling these players, which top club's going to come in for someone like Solanke? Well, you've already tried that at Liverpool and Chelsea. The two players that clubs will look at is Udogie and Kulusevski. Man City are already sniffing around Udogie, and Kulusevski will have a handful of clubs. The rest of them, James Maddison's already had that leap to a bigger club. Bergvall, he's another one that might get linked. Romero's a disgrace. Plays for Argentina, is a good centre-back. Plays for us, and he plays 6 months of the year. Van der Ven's one more hamstring away from probably having to retire. So when it comes to actually selling our assets, who's going to look at them and go, do you know what? I want to buy that player. Like we are in a, I said this the other day on a stream. If we lose the Europa League, we're in a rut for the next 3 to 7 years of being anywhere between 10
I don't know if it's that, I don't know if it's that bad. It depends what you mean by rut. And what I mean by that is, I think a manager that's better suited to the group of players you've got. So I think if you had Areola as your manager, as a case in point, Thomas Frank as a case in point, I think you're sitting anywhere right now between 6th and 8th in the league, 6th and 9th in the league.
Yeah, I agree.
That's not disastrous for Tottenham Hotspur. That's about your actual level.
What is disastrous, Terry, is if we lose the Europa League and then we have to sell half our players to start rebuild. Well, it's not even rebuilding, is it? Because you rebuild if you win. Building a squad. But then I don't trust this hierarchy to go and replace the players we've got. You know, we sold Harry Kane and brought Richarlison in. That's got to be the biggest downgrade in Premier League history. And then we downgraded. We went from Richarlison, who's a better number 9 than Solanke. So we've downgraded on Richarlison. He's got a better goal-to-game ratio in the Prem.
How much did you spend on Richarlison and Solanke combined?
120 million quid. You signed Erling Haaland and Kevin De Bruyne for cheaper.
Wow.
That's how bad the recruitment is. But the other side of it is, he's had 350 million quid, and we've got worse. We've won.
Yeah, that's unacceptable. Now I know the signings are poor. How much did he have to say about the signings? I don't know, but that's bad. But the problem is, you try to buy these younger players like your Odeberts and that. Like, you need to be signing top players.
Yeah.
And then I hear Spurs fans say, well, why we can't sign the top players because they'll go all the way. What, you telling me you couldn't have got Timber 6 months before Arsenal did? Yeah, he's a top player. They got him for cheap.
Bournemouth have got Kirkes, Dean Hoyson.
Yeah, exactly. Why go get Mbeumo? Mbeumo's a good player. Why don't you go Mbeumo, man?
Yeah. No, there's that. You also got to look at it from the other side as well. So you've got Man United are probably going to get Cunha for 60-odd million £. I don't think you could have got him a year ago, 2 years ago. He would have been.
And then the we got
exactly much better than Maddison, who literally. I always knew that guy would flop at a higher level than he was playing at. He's just a fucking eye test merchant's wet dream, and he looks good being shit. Do you know what I mean? Like you'll all see that in the workplace. You know, like you'll get a very good looking woman or a very good looking guy, and they'll be in the office with you, and they're shit. But because they're very good looking and very charming, they get away with being crap at their job. It's James Maddison. He looks good being shit and he gets away with it. But yeah, you guys could have signed the Cunha. There's loads of players that you had the ability to sign. The problem is that you're in this weird place, Tottenham, where you try and act like a big club, but it's like champagne ambition on lemonade money, where what you should be aiming for is the quality of players that you can get at the right price. Stop trying to look like you're bigger and better than you are, have the right type of manager for a squad like that, like an Areola. And yeah, you might punch above your weight slightly. The problem is when you try and act like a big boy, you know, but as what's his name says, you ain't got the facilities for that big man. And what I mean by that, you got the money, but you don't, you are just not more attractive to the stars than City, than Liverpool, than Chelsea, than United, than Arsenal. So you've got to readjust. I think you guys have bought into the Sky Sports Big Six hype. And it's great. Like we all use it. I use Top Six, Big Six, a huge, brilliant podcast, amazing. But in reality, the Big Six, you're not meant to be there. You're not really there, bruv. Do you know what I'm saying? You're not really there. You're not a Big Six team.
Yeah, like Spurs fans get on my case all the time because I think Aston Villa is a bigger football club.
They are.
They've got 5 more league titles than us, and they've got a Champions League. How are they not a bigger football club?
Are they going in the right direction?
Right, yeah, exactly. So are Nottingham Forest. Look at Forest, Bournemouth, and Newcastle. Aston Villa, here's a stat for you. The year we was in the Champions League final, Aston Villa won the playoffs, right, to come into the Premier League. That season where that Birmingham fan punched Grealish, right? Grealish goes to City, wins it or whatever. Look at the difference between where Aston Villa are now compared to us. They've just got to a Champions League quarterfinals. They just got to an FA Cup semi-finals. And you know, if they get in the top 4 again and get Champions League football, their ownership will go and spend. Look at the January window they had. They brought in Rashford, Asensio, and Donny Malen. All 3 of those players are better than any forward we've got. Like Nottingham Forest. 2 years ago, they were in the relegation zone. 5 years ago, they were in the Championship.
But the difference is, though, Henry, the owner at Forest wants to win.
And that's exactly the point.
We don't want to win. That's why he broke the rules, because he needed to buy the players to be able to get away from that relegation zone. And now
broke the rules.
We've not had our judgment yet.
I'll give you another example.
They are proven cheats. They are proven guilt. We don't have no judgment yet. Sorry, Henry.
So they did a fans forum. I've said this to Terry about 100 times, and he's pretty bored of me saying this. There was a fans forum last year, and they asked Daniel Levy what's his biggest, like your top 3 accomplishments as being Tottenham chairman for 24 years. And he said the stadium, getting to the Champions League final, and how much bigger we are as a football club. He never mentioned the fact that he never mentioned the only honour he's won as chairman, brought it to his football club. He never mentioned the League Cup. So that told all those fans in that forum what the priorities are. If we get to the Europa League, he's going to go and give everyone a bloody Rolex with an envelope like he did to the Champions League final. If we don't win that Bodoe Glimt game,
how do you think you're going to get? How do you think you're going to get on? Because look, Bodoe Glimt, I might get the numbers slightly wrong. They've got 2 top players suspended, 3 injuries in the last week. They are nowhere. They don't have your budget, right? They're in Norway. No disrespect, big up Norway. That's why my cousin played pro football there for years for Vikings, Stefana, and Start, I think they're called. I respect the league. I've got family that lived there for a long time. You can't be losing this semi-final to Bodoe Glimt with half a squad and no real pitch. Come on.
And they've played the entire Europa League campaign so far throughout their pre-season. Their season's only just started. They're only 4 games in. So that just goes to show you the Europa League this season. How is a team using their pre-season to get to a semi-final? And I think they've actually got 8 players, according to Ali Gold's article, they've got 8 players missing. We've got a fully fit squad. Son's going to be fully fit. If we go out to Bodoe Glimt, fold this football club. They're not even in the top 12 leagues.
If you go out to Bodoe Glimt, I'm trying to work on the wording, and expression could do it better than me, but I've got a great name, I think, for your manager. You can call him Bodoe Gimp.
Honestly, we've got them in a couple of nights. I'm expecting 3-4-0 at home. 3-4-0. I'm going out to Norway for the second leg, for a jolly up and to watch us. I think we'll make the final. Hang
on. So you're moaning about being striped up by your owners and the way they treat fans.
I'm going to see us in a European final for the next 40 years, Eric.
But you're going to games. You are a hypocrite.
Yeah, I admit it. I'm a hypocrite. I think the club's a disgrace, but at the same time, it's the first European semi-final we've been in since the Champions League, and there's a very good chance we're making that final. Now, Bilbao, Man United's a different kettle of fish. If we play Bilbao, and we're I expect the players to go into that final and actually play. If we play the way we did against Frankfurt away, we've got a very good chance of doing something. Man United have obviously at Old Trafford, they're capable of these incredible comebacks. But the fact that it's in Bilbao Stadium, mark my words, it's going to be a Man United Spurs final. You guys are going to do Bilbao and we're going to do Bodoe Glimt. And then it's just flip a coin. Because us in a final, I probably would back United to beat us. I'm not going to lie to you.
The only reason I can see us both being in a final is because it shouldn't have happened. Exactly. It really should be, based on how well teams have performed this season, based on their club's situation and standards. It should be a Bodoe Bilbao final. By the way, I don't think Man United are getting past Bilbao. We have got an horrendous record away in Spain outside of playing Sociedad in our history. We invariably lose. We've just lost another player in the low. I honestly can't see it. I honestly and that's not me playing it down. I'm just being honest about it. I hate going away to Spain. I think they're 4th in their league. They've had a very good season. They've got some very good.
They've only lost 5 league games all season. They've got the best defense in La Liga.
Yeah, I just don't see Man United. The only we'll have half a chance if we can get away from Bilbao only losing by 1 goal or drawing. Then there's a chance we go through. But I've got a horrible feeling Thursday night is going to be one of those sort of Newcastle-esque type games where I think we might end up taking a bit of a hiding. I hope I'm wrong, but yeah, I don't agree with you.
It stinks to me as a game where United need to be clinical, and that's the last thing United are.
Yes, I agree.
The weekend. So who's your Premier League fixture in between?
Brentford. We will. I was really annoyed at the weekend when people were getting angry about the starting lineup, and it's like people just don't understand how professional football works. There's no way we could have played a week ago Sunday and then the first team not kick a ball again to the following Thursday. It's no good for football players. They need to be more active than that. So, but we will rotate heavily on. I would imagine only 2 or 3 starters will start the game against Brentford away on Sunday. We're not worried about that. And why should we be? The league's over for us. But look, there's a chance for United. I just don't personally see it. I'm not. I'd love to be in the final. I'd love to end this horrendous season in a final and maybe picking up the European trophy. But I don't have the confidence to even sit there, and I can't say it. If we were playing Sociedad in the semis, Leon, I had a bit more confidence. Bilbao are a really, really good team, and I can't sit there and be honest and just go a team that barely wins in Spain with our season versus theirs. I can't sit there with any chest or authority and say I think there's a good chance we win. There just isn't, in my opinion.
If you was a Tottenham fan and Ange Postecoglou, hypothetically, of course, because you'd never support my football club. But if Tottenham win the Europa League, would you want Ange sacked?
Yeah, potentially. And that's because I don't think... Yeah, I look at... I want to be careful how I word this. Get your clips ready, people. Winning trophies are not the be-all and end-all. And what I mean by that is your league form is your bread and butter. It is the true indicator for how good you are as a football club. And every now and then, a team can win a trophy after having a really bad season. Wigan famously proved this a decade or so ago. Wigan winning the FA Cup was amazing for them, and I understand that. I mean, ironically, with what's happened to that club since, maybe staying in the Premier League would have been a better option that season than winning the FA Cup. But you know what? They had that glory. They're a tiny club in comparison to Tottenham. You have to always review your league form. You've got to remember as well, your manager is 2 years in and gone backwards. Outside the opening 10 games, it's been horrendous ever since. 400 million pounds has been spent on that squad in that time. And I don't think you have a disgustingly bad squad. You haven't got a top 4 squad. You haven't got one of the best squads in the league, but I don't think you have an horrendous squad of players either. I just don't think it's the 16th, 17th worst squad in the league. So I think you definitely have to look at sacking him, win or lose. That it was the same with Jose. You should have kept Jose for that final with hindsight. But even if you won it, it doesn't mean you should have kept him. You have to look at your league form and how you're operating over a 2-year period with 2 pre-seasons, 4 transfer windows, and 400 million pounds spent. You can't remove that context at all. And of course, I knew this comment was coming because they like to Amorim. Again, if Amorim has 2 pre-seasons and over 400 million pounds spent on his squad, and we keep getting worse in the league, then there's a good chance I'm going to say he needs to be sacked. But you're comparing an apple with a piece of chalk. They are not the same thing in completely different situations, in my personal opinion. In terms of judging the manager at this particular moment, you've got to, we all know pre-seasons are important and spending money is important. And United are going to spend money in the summer. We'll get onto some of their deals later. They had a number of Cunhas in different positions. There's a massive expectation, Spurs for life, for Amorim to make that team better. So, but you can't compare what he's doing to a team that's on paper was better than ours, according to most pundits, and who have spent more and had 2 pre-seasons. It's not comparable.
You have to sack Ange regardless. I mean, how he's not been sacked already is a bit of a madness, in my opinion. But even if he wins the Europa League, you have to sack him. I have to say this again, but you're 16th in the league, innit? There's no way that you can justify that with the Europa League.
Do you think Thomas Frank would be a good appointment? He's the favourite. It's a step down, to be honest. Let's just be brutally honest.
I'll be real with you, yeah. I don't see Spurs. I don't know what Spurs is meant to be in it. I don't know what's meant to be going on here. So I don't know why you go from it. I don't know who you should appoint. I think you signed him to trash. For the club to get in the top 4. Chairman's trash. I don't know. I don't know what you do, bro. I think you're finished, man.
Yeah, I don't know what you guys... Genuinely, I don't know what you guys do either. I feel it's...
There's no direction.
Yeah, it's very hard. It's
zero
very hard
direction at your football club. So asking like, oh, should we get this manager or that manager? I don't know. I don't know where
the club want to be a Champions League club. They want to be competing in the top 4. So that's the hierarchy. So how do we get there?
But you need to stop signing players like Odegaard.
You
need to stop signing players like Richarlison and Solanke, who's had 1 good season in the Premier League. He's got 16 goals. And you spent 65 million quid on him. Like, where's the elite level players? Yeah, I think Van der Ven, that was a shrewd signing. That was a decent signing, picking him up from wherever you got it from. Wolfsburg,
and then what do? We play a high line that's fucking like eyed in the Empire State and ruin his hamstrings, and now no one's going to touch him.
But I just look at you and I think your transfers suck, man. Like, where are these good players, man? Do you know what I mean? You got all this money. You spent 350 million quid, and what have you got to show for it? I mean, not being funny here. Chelsea have done 1.5 billion quid, and they've wasted a lot of that. But at least they have a couple of good players like Caicedo and Cole Palmer.
Would you take any of our players?
Would I take any of your players?
Your doggy?
No, I'm not actually a massive fan of Kulu. A doggy, maybe a doggy, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting summer to see who your new manager is. I just say you can have the ambitions to be a Champions League team, but if it's something you want to get to very quickly, then you've got to spend and pay the salaries that those Champions League teams do. If it's something you're willing to wait and build up to, then you've got to operate a little differently. The expectations have got to be lowered in the short term for the long-term gain. You need the right type of manager for that. You can't go and get an Antonio Conte that wants to win today and then say, yeah, but we're going to build you a squad that Thomas Frank would be happy with that may take a little bit longer. You guys have just been so imbalanced in terms of your direction for a long time. I think that's really, really important. But viewers, give us your opinions on that in the comment section below. This here says, get Paulo Fonseca from Lyon. He's the next big thing.
Yeah, but you get him, and then what? It's just a recycle. They'll sign a couple of 22-year-olds, 30 million quid. They won't be good. Again. And then you sack him.
You're getting called out here, Henry. D-Boy says, don't let Henry sit there and slate Spurs. Him and, I don't know who Sean Butler are, but Sean Butler said it was a good summer window.
Yeah, because at the time of Sean's Tottenham creator, at the time we just qualified for the Europa League.
Oh,
and we signed Van der Ven, who was a good signing. Solanke was coming off the back of a good season. Bergvall, I think.
Bergvall's
most teams would look at Bergvall.
Yeah, a good player.
And we were linked with top players, but at the time I said that was like mid-June. And then we just fucking fell off a cliff as usual. I mean, do you know, have you heard about we're trying to qualify, the club want to be in the next Club World Cup? And they're willing to pay their way into it.
Don't you have to win the Champions League to that? I thought that's how you have to.
That tournament will die if FIFA allow a club to pay to be in it. That the tournament's over as soon as that happens, because then it's just, that's basically corruption. Imagine Man United this summer go, listen, UEFA, we're willing to pay you £30 million to be in the Champions League. The Champions League would die instantly if you did that.
Arsenal got offered a place in the Club World Cup last summer, but they rejected it.
Yes, but that's not them asking to pay to get in, is it?
No, but they haven't won a Champions League.
Yeah, I understand that. But then being invited, at least you're invited by the competition, right? The difference is, imagine as soon as they pay for someone to be, I get why they would want an Arsenal or maybe a Man United in it. Huge fan bases. They want eyes on the tournament. But Spurs paying to be, it kills the tournament instantly. Imagine paying to be in the tournament. It was
we got invited in the Super League, like when that was all kicking off. How? We haven't won anything we haven't won an FA Cup in over 30 years. How are we in that? It's just financial.
That's like Peter Andre being nominated for a Grammy, bruv. Do you know what I mean? It's just, it shouldn't happen. Jason here says Spurs and their fans deserve each other. Who's your daddy, Spurs? The Arsenal. Back to mid-table. Could be playing City in the Championship in 26-27.
That's honestly my fear. Under this ownership, if the three promoted sides were better, we'd be in a dogfight right now.
Same United.
Oh, yeah, we would be as well. There's no doubt. Joshua here says, also doesn't help whilst we can't score. There's a certain midfielder who scored his 11 goals of the season, who I was told his goals hurt our team last year, who would never lead to a club league. I get what you're saying about Scott McTominay. I know what you're talking about. At the same time, the rest of I'm not trying to slag off Serie A, but we need to be fair that like Lukaku and Billy Gilmore are part of that core. And that core couldn't win a Premier League. That core probably wouldn't get you in the top 6 or 7 in the Premier League. But I'm very, very happy for Scott McTominay. I'm very, very happy for Scott McTominay indeed to be doing what it is that he is. Ange has hated Spurs since that City loss. Yeah, I do think there's some truth to that. That City game where you guys were celebrating losing, I think there was a breakdown in relationship there.
Even that game, Terry. We had a guy with a flipping banjo guitar singing "I'm City till July." And that's a fucking disgrace.
And this is the irony.
It was at the time like there was a little bit of humour behind it, but having someone in the stadium play a song.
This is again, hindsight's lucrative, I know, but you're now at a point where your club's saying we are not spending money unless we sell our players. Son scoring that goal, maybe your fans actually being up for that game and better atmosphere, better energy. You win that game, you made the Champions League. That's 100 million extra that helps you build your squad. So there's so much that L has actually cost you financially so much. You've basically celebrated 100 million pounds extra money not coming in. Now you've got to sell some of your better players to buy more because your owner's not going to invest any more of the club's money. For me, that's just one of the biggest L's ever. You basically celebrated your own part of your own demise that day. Crazy.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Do you know what's going to be? We were talking about clubs that have coming up and do better. Leeds United will be another one. They'll obviously they're going to win the league. They'll come up, spend money, and be another club that's got more ambition than us.
They may very well be. Viewers, give us your thoughts and opinions. We obviously saw Liverpool crowned champions at the weekend. Congratulations to them. We've done a number of shows about it and big them up. But I have a question. Of course, I'm going to go to LB first on this. Do you think Moisés Caicedo regrets joining Chelsea?
Unless he likes living in London and didn't like the idea of living in Liverpool, I would go, yeah. You know what I mean? He could have had a Premier League title. And maybe more, because I think maybe if Liverpool had Caicedo, maybe they could have won another trophy on top of the Premier League. So unless he's obsessed with London, or unless Chelsea are paying him much more money than Liverpool were offering him, then yeah, he will massively regret going to Chelsea. Do you know what I mean? I think that's quite obvious. I mean, do we know if he was offered a lot more at Chelsea than Liverpool, or is that unknown?
I mean, based on the way they structure their salaries, I think he's been offered less per week, but a longer contract at Chelsea. But yeah, I mean, I saw this tweet that's obviously gone viral because it's been shared, and it's like 2023 rejected Liverpool, 2025 he'll be giving Liverpool a guard of honor. The rest of the tweet says absolute cinema. And there must be a part of him that is sitting there. You've got Chelsea fans who are disenfranchised right now. You can see it in the way they're talking. A lot of the Chelsea fans that come on their match reactions, you coming on, I'm not watching the games. They're in a top 5 race, like Champions League race. They're not watching the games. That's how disconnected they are with their club. I think Moisés Caicedo has been fantastic for them. But I would be shocked if there wasn't a part of him that sits there thinking that should be me lifting that trophy right now. There's
Same as Lavia.
We're all human. If any of you let's say a podcast approached you and said, "Oh, do you want to come and be one of the main faces on podcast A?" And you're like, "Nah, it doesn't sound. No, I'm going to pick this instead." I think like 6 months, a year, that's the biggest podcast in the world. They're on TV shows, getting paid loads of money. Even if you're happy on the show that you chose to do instead, there's going to be a part of you that's thinking, "Oh, for fuck's sake!" Like it has to be. We're all human. We're all human.
Yeah, of course. I think any player that's rejected Liverpool, same as Zubimendi. Zubimendi must be sitting and thinking, hang on, I'm at Real Sociedad, who okay, they got to a Copa del Rey semi-final, but I could have had a league title. I've stayed in sunny Spain instead of going to Merseyside, and what have I got to show for it? Didn't Lavia as well? Weren't Liverpool?
He rejected Liverpool as well.
Yeah, I think it's happened a few times. I think Michael Owen regrets leaving Liverpool every day of his life. The year he leaves, they go on to win the Champions League, as an example. There's been, I think, Coutinho, if you were to get him in a dark room, do you regret leaving Liverpool? I know he won trophies at Barca and Bayern, but he was never really the main man like when he was at Liverpool. It certainly happened. It has to have happened where people regret these things. And he can turn it around at Chelsea, and Chelsea can go on to win things. But yeah, man, I remember thinking
players got to live with their decisions, aren't they? You know what I mean? And
yeah, true.
Like he has obviously got his reasons for going Chelsea. Who knows what them reasons are? Like, I don't know if he's ever come out and said what the reasons are, but he wanted to go Chelsea, fair enough. But yeah, he's watching Liverpool win this. I do genuinely think if they would have had Caicedo, then maybe they could have actually won another trophy as well. Because especially against PSG, I thought you saw that Gravenberch is not a natural 6 against PSG. I think he's done very, very well throughout the season, Gravenberch, but I still don't think he's a 6. I thought against PSG, I felt personally that you sort of noticed that. So yeah, maybe if they would have got in, maybe they could have done a bit better in the Champions League as well. But not that Liverpool fans will care; they've won the Premier League, innit? But listen, you got to live with your decisions, man. You make these decisions, you got to live with them. You know what I mean? So Caicedo, he's got to try and help that Chelsea side get Champions League, win that Conference League, and then go again next year and try and do better, innit?
Yeah, certainly. In terms of news about Chelsea, there is a story that's come out today that's been shared by Simon Phillips that Chelsea are targeting Morgan Rogers for the summer. Is it the right type of business, LB, the right level of player that they should be going for to raise their standards and become a better team next year?
It's not the right player. They need a goalkeeper. They need a striker. I think they need a centre-half before they need Morgan Rogers. Way before they need that. It's about priorities, isn't it? It's about priorities. The striker and the goalkeeper has to be the priority. And how much is Morgan Rogers going to cost? 100 mil?
I mean,
80 mil?
It's going to be. He's only been at the club 2 years. So what's he going to have? 3 years left on his contract.
They ain't selling for anything less than 80 mil, are they?
14 goals this year.
They sold Duran for like what, 65?
Duran went 78 odd million. So yeah, he's going to be, and he's a first teamer, this lad. Like he's going to be a good 80 plus million.
So
easy.
How many hotels do Chelsea have to sell? Are they going to be able to afford all these players? No, I'll be serious, man, because they need a striker. You know, that's probably going to be at 60, 70 million. A goalkeeper's probably going to be what, 30, 40, 50 million. I think they need a centre back. That's another 40,
I think they need 2
centre
backs.
Well, yeah, probably do, to be honest. And then, so they're going to have enough money to do that. I don't know if they've got the money.
And Villa, obviously English tax and all that, he's one of their star players. If they turn around and say we want 80, 90 million and Chelsea are using majority of their budget before they sell any players on like Morgan Rogers is a very good player. I think a lot of teams he'd get in, but that's not what Chelsea need. If they go into next season again with Sanchez in goal, that's disastrous.
By the way, he signed a 6-year deal when he arrived, so he's got 4 years left. No, he's got 5 years left.
Yeah, so 80 million
on his contract.
I don't think Villa sell him anyway.
No, I don't think
you can't be selling him. You can't be selling him. Get rid of Watkins before you get rid of him, for me.
Yeah, I feel with Chelsea is still a massive club. They're still very attractive. They've still got pull. But I don't think at this particular moment, I don't think they've got the overall package to take Morgan Rogers away from Aston Villa. Maybe if next season there's a big improvement in Chelsea and Villa fade away a little bit, maybe Unai Emery moves on, then I think you have an opportunity and a chance. But I just don't think with the ambition they showed in January, the ownership want to win. He's 22 years of age. He's had a lot of moves, a lot of loan deals while at City, goes to Middlesbrough, then goes to Villa. I don't even know if it's advisable for him to continue moving so much because he's very, very settled. But yeah, I don't know if Chelsea can drag. There are players from Villa they could land, but I'm not sure Rodgers is one of them. My other question would be, say they can get him. Because again, if they did land him, I don't think any of us would be, oh my God, I can't believe Chelsea did that. Chelsea are a massive club. He plays attacking midfield. There's no way he's going to Chelsea to sit on that bench behind Palmer. So what then happens?
Palmer onto the right and play a midfield of Caicedo in the 6, Fernandes in the 8, and Rodgers in the 10.
But they don't get a striker though. It's irrelevant, isn't it?
Like they're looking at Delap. Like I know Delap's been linked to a lot of clubs. Like he's a good talent, another player coming out of City, but you need a player that's guaranteed goals. Like how no one's gone in and put. I know that Man United have been linked with Osimhen, but how no one's gone in and put the release clause on the table for him yet? I think it's ludicrous. Like Chelsea, they're crying out. Striker and centre back should be absolute. If they don't get those two, they're not getting top 4 again.
I just had a thought though. I had a thought. What happens if, by the way, if Aston Villa was to get rid of Morgan Rogers and buy Felix, they deserve to be relegated. That would be one of the worst trades in the history of humanity. It really, really would. For me, what if this means they could cash in on Palmer?
But again,
could Palmer have his head turned by Liverpool? Could Man City come back and go, actually, we'll take Palmer back?
So it depends how you phrase the question. If you're saying like Palmer wants out, then fairs. But if they're just like, oh yeah, we'll just sell Palmer, then that club is dead, because then that just confirms it's a business. And then no, it's a bit ambitious. That football club is like actually legit dead if they do that. So yeah,
not only that, if City go for Palmer, what does that mean for Foden? Because if they're getting Verts, like I'd look at their front,
I don't think
their 10 and their front three, and think,
well, if you read the news that's come out today from Santi, he said that a verbal agreement almost reached between Bayern Munich and Verts' camps. No agreement found yet between the two football clubs. City still want the player, but a big update that Verts could be on his way to Bayern Munich.
I've seen that before.
But can you play Musiala and Verts in the same team? They both play the 10.
You can in Germany.
Well, they do. You
can in Germany.
No, in Germany. I mean, they're
but Nagelsmann does it for the international side.
Yeah, I mean, there's no excuse for them not to go out and go and win the Champions League if they've got those two in their team. But I still think City will put the money on the table.
Oh, I think we'll put the money on the table. I think it's about convincing him. Because apparently he wants to stay in Germany, so that's the problem.
If he wants to change, who would you look at as like the alternative? Who's another player you'd look at?
I don't even think about it. I don't even have that conversation. If that's the, I don't because bro, what can we do in it? Who's out there, man? You know what I'm saying? Like Xavi Simons, you have to get him. He's only got 2 years left on his contract now, so maybe you got to go get him. I don't know yet. If it was me, I'd probably just run what we've got. I'd probably buy Tijani Reinders. I'd run Foden in the attacking midfield like we did last year. Hopefully, actually has a good day like last year rather than this year, and then go and activate Musiala's release clause next year.
Do you feel like it's sort of proved? I mean, would you take Palmer back? Like, if it turns you can't get Verts, if it came out that in the first place. Yeah, so you'd be happy for him if Chelsea decided that they're going to cash in, or if Palmer says I want out, this project's not for me, you'd be happy with that
all day long. All day long, man. I never wanted to sell him in the first place, man. I thought it was a terrible decision from the football club. Terrible. I've seen this guy cook in the academy. I've seen him cook for City. For City, he cooked. And then my club decided to sell him for 40 million quid and put no buyback clause in there, man. Horrific piece of business. Horrific piece of business. So, yeah, I'd take him back all day long, man. This guy was the next Mahrez, bro. You know what I mean? Like, this was a top player that we let go of pennies on the dollar, man. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'd take him back all day long. I never wanted him to leave.
Yeah, it'd be a very, 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 very interesting one if that was to happen. Because again, if Chelsea are really targeting Morgan Rogers, I'm not saying they can't have, I know you'll get a lot of Chelsea fans say, well, we can have depth, Yeah, I don't think a team can accommodate a Palmer and a Rogers unless Palmer's being moved onto that right-hand side. Just because they would be almost being each other's way a little bit, and it's about the profiles. But you said that just resonated with me about something that Potsy put in the group chat earlier. When you're sort of like, who is there out there? Potsy, for the viewers to know, Potsy put this in the group chat earlier on, which shows the top 10 in the Ballon d'Or list in 1998. With obviously Zidane winning it, Davor Suker, Ronaldo. That's the R9 in case anyone's. But Rivaldo, Michael Owen. I don't even hear youngsters speak about Gabriel Batistuta anymore. Desailly gets a lot of disrespect. Thuram and everything else. Do you think there's a point that Dan's making that holds a bit of water, that just the lack of quality across football, and when I say quality, you're talking about a KDB replacement. Do you feel like maybe 10 years ago, 20 years, 30 years ago, you could have gone, I'd like any one of these 5-6 players to come in, where now it's like
this. I've been saying this for like 6-7 years, man. Ever since I've been doing YouTube, I've been saying there is a football ability drain. Yeah, and you get these younger fans, who obviously just go, oh, you're just doing like the revisionism or whatever the word is, like
nostalgia merchant.
Nostalgic, and it's just like, nah, Just because you didn't see these players back in the day, we fucking know what we're watching. And the best example, that I can give, right? And I always talk about to prove my point is that Edinson Cavani, when he was in his prime, was not even a top 5, top 6, top 7 striker, in the world at that time. If he came back now, he'd be top 3, and I guarantee some people he'd even put him number 1. I wouldn't, but some people would even put him number 1. He wasn't even top 6, top 7 striker, bro, in his prime. Because you had like Lewandowski cooking, you still had Aguero cooking, you had all these players cooking on gas, and he was a solid striker, by the way. But he was never, he had like one mad year at PSG, by the way, But he was never spoken about like one of the elite level strikers. But if he come back now as a regen, he'd be one of the best. And some people would be saying he's the best striker.
Yeah.
It's just the truth, man.
No, listen, I do agree. I'm not saying football isn't fun now, isn't entertaining. We have Phil, who's a Newcastle fan that comes on a lot and speaks about
this
how
guy in the chat saying Cavani wouldn't be a top 3 striker in world football today. Oh my god!
In his pomp. In his pomp.
Are you being serious?
He's right up there. He's right up there.
What would you say? Kane, Haaland, Cavani?
He's definitely in the top 3, man. I know Lewandowski's doing his thing, but like, come on, man. He's like,
I see the World 11 in 2012 with like Xavi, Iniesta, Puyol.
Who's the top 3 then? Why is the chat telling me he's not top 3? He's not better than Isak.
See, look, when you say not, look, when Isak gets used, I'm gonna be fair. I love Isak, but the problem is, Travanelli, when you mentioned Isak, is I'm not seeing him perform yet in a title race. How does he handle that pressure? How does he deliver? He's scoring a good amount of goals, Isak. But what he's done in the last year, let's see if he can echo that for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. We're yet to see him deliver on a regular basis in, say, the Champions League as an example as well. We've also, maybe you could throw in going to a big club, a giant club where the pressure's even higher. I know Newcastle fans will hate that being said, but I think there's validity to that comment. Or maybe when Newcastle get to that point. So Isak's amazing, and there are some elements technically that he's better than him at. But Cavani did so much more in his career. And listen, and I'm a big fan of Isak, but come on now, we can't just deny the things that Cavani did. And the point is that if he was in his pomp now, like this man in his pomp, I'm just going to go and look at numbers only for a minute. Look at him in his pomp. And I don't want to hear, oh, it's France. Because whenever someone says France ain't a good league, you same bitches cry. This man, okay, from 2010, at Napoli in Serie A, okay, until 2018. Okay, this is his pomp. 33 goals, 38 goals, 25 goals, 31, 25, 49, and then 40 goals.
49 goals, but people are telling me he wouldn't be above Isak. Get out of here, man. What are we doing here?
Like, Isak's a very good player, but he's 25 years of age, Isak. He's an excellent player. His best goal-scoring season is the last 2 years. He's been very good, 25 and 26 goals, respectively, as he's hit that age, right? You're talking Edinson Cavani had some seasons where he almost doubled that, but in his pomp, 33, 38. So he's 38 years old now. So let's go back and do the timeline, right? So he's 38 years old now. So I'm just going to go back 37, 36, 35. So he's 10 years and then 10 years back. So when he in 2013, when he was the same age that Isak is now, he just scored 38 goals. The year before that, 33. The year before that, 33. He then went on. For me to look at Isak and put him in the same categories, and I'm talking all things, 25 goals a year after that, then 31 goals and 25, then 49 and 40. He's also delivered in his career, right? By the way, a lot for international, but you look at his honors as well, what he has helped to win, right? This guy won a cup for Napoli, back 5, 6 league titles, bare European trophies as well. He won so much as a football player. Like, come on now, let's be fair here. Isak's brilliant, but that's not the reason why you're doing it, though. Do you know what it is? Do you know what I think it is, LB? I'd love to get your take on this. It's because Cavani was never that rated because there was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 players better than him. Because Isak is now rated as one of the best in the world, you're viewing it as, well, no, Isak is one of the best in the world at 25. Cavani wasn't. But that's because the standard is lower now.
Like even that 12 in 41 at the Premier Man United, the guy was like 33, 34.
Exactly.
Like even David Villa is better than majority of the wingers in the world right now. I'd have David Villa as probably better than the only winger I'd take right now over him is Salah.
Yeah, I'd take probably him now.
See, what does that say? 12 in what?
12 in 41 for Man United.
Well, so this is the thing as well, though, right? So when I did the stats for Isak, I included goals in all competitions, to be fair. Actually, he scored 17 goals in his first season for Man United when he was in his 30s. The next year, he only got 2 goals. That's being granted. But that was also Man United's fault. What we then went and done is we brought Ronaldo in, who played ahead of him as an example. And then he didn't want to be at the club anymore. He was always out and injured and barely playing and everything else. Then he went to Valencia, and scored 7. But that was at the end of his career. Let's be fair, like in his 30s. We're talking in his pomp. And again, the point I think you're all missing that was made is that he wasn't even probably rated in the top 5, top 10 at some points in his peak. Maybe in the seasons where he got 49 and 40 goals. But yeah.
That's the point. Like, for me, anyone that thinks Isak now is better than Cavani in the prime is off the red, in my opinion, yeah. But that's not really the point I was making. The point I'm making is that whether you think Cavani's better or you think Isak's better, yeah, the point is Isak right now is top 3, top 4 strikers in world football, yeah? Cavani wasn't even top 6, top 7, top 8, top 9.
David Villa is such a great shout out for the 2000s. There is a genuine shout that if David Villa was playing today, he could be the best striker in the world.
Bro, we signed Aguero, yeah? Not because, like, he was desperate necessarily to join Man City. Because I don't know if that was the truth, yeah? But because everybody else had world-class strikers at the time anyway, so didn't need Aguero.
Aguero would be the best striker in the world right now, in his pomp.
Yeah, Aguero was talking, by the way, at Atletico Madrid, yeah? He's dunked on Chelsea. Ask Chelsea fans about that.
Yeah.
And this is the truth is, nobody else wanted him because they didn't need him because everyone had top-class strikers.
And this is why when punditry is done, recency bias always has to be called into question. The reason I say that is Wayne Rooney, sometimes people say underachieved. And a lot of that was based on the hype the English media gave him and the expectations they set for him. Does that make he's going to win us World Cups? Rooney didn't promise anybody that. But again, if Wayne Rooney was playing now, if Rooney came through 2 years ago as an 18-year-old and was scoring and delivering in exactly the same way, one, I don't think there's as many good defenders now as there were 20 years ago either. But if Rooney came through now, he would be outright seen as the best player in the world. Rooney, though, in his pomp, he had the 2 guys that are considered the 2 GOATs, as in Messi and Ronaldo. So you always have to be mindful of recency bias because you may go, I don't even think Rooney was top 5 when he was playing. Isak now is number 1. But would Isak have been number 1 in Rooney's era? No. Not in the Premier League. So I just think that sometimes people forget like the landscape and what you were. I was making this point before. There are some of the Olympic sprinters, if you go and look at, that were running during Usain Bolt's peak. Some of them were running faster than the current world champions, the current Olympic champions. So you can't, that's why I always say medals are a massive indicator of how successful you were. But if you're going to be fair, and I've learned this over the years, you've got some players, some runners might have only got silvers and bronze, but who are they running against compared to now? And I'm only saying when you compare them to today's runners or runners from yesteryear, I think about Andy Murray, and this is said by a lot of tennis fanatics. Andy Murray won 3 majors, which is a lot for a British guy because we don't win anything. But he did it in the greatest era that tennis has ever seen with Federer, Djokovic, and Nadal. If you take just one of those guys out, there is a lot of experts of tennis that go, he probably would have won 4 or 5 more. Imagine none of those 3 existed at the same time as Andy Murray. Imagine how many he would have won. Now, that doesn't make Andy Murray any better or worse as a tennis player. You have to look at the landscape of what you're competing against, which is why I still view the best era of the Premier League as kind of 04 to around 2013, 2014. And why that is because most seasons in that period, we had 2, 3, sometimes 4 teams from the Prem going into Europe, Champions League, which also had loads of teams that we thought could win it. But there was a genuine chance that you'd go, even this season, Arsenal have done better than everybody thought. But no one thought Villa could win it. Last season, Newcastle going into the Champions League, no one thought Newcastle could win it. United, every time we've been in it in the last 10 years, who thought we could win it? No one. That didn't exist in that era. Our teams were that good that there was a genuine chance they could go on to win it. And I think you always have to look at what you're competing against when you're deciding who's best and who's worst, not just the records or, the most points or the goals scored or the goals conceded. That's why Chelsea's goal conceding record's so amazing. That was in the mid-noughties. Do you know how many amazing strikers played in the Premier League then? To only concede 15 goals is a madness. But look, viewers, give us your opinions on that. Great chat. Even Van Persie in 2013 is better than Isak.
Facts.
I mean, come on, what we're doing here.
Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, I'd say if I could get peak Isak, so if I could have Isak now or peak Van Persie, I'm definitely picking Van Persie. Yeah, I am.
Yeah, but by the way, I didn't even mean to start this Isak fucking debate. My point, I thought it was common knowledge that prime Cavani, when he scored 49 goals in a single season, is better than Isak. Yeah, the point was, Cavani was not considered a top class, like world class striker in his prime because of everybody else that was above him. And if he came back now, he would be considered one of the best in the world.
Without a doubt.
The point.
Without
this whole conversation started because Terry asked me who City should sign if we can't get Wirtz, and I said I don't know because there's no one out there.
Yeah, that's great. Another debate for us, so very quickly that we I suppose we have to have 100 men versus a gorilla. Who wins?
Gorilla.
I love these sort of internet trends. It's done. What has it done? Like 500 million views overnight.
Anyone who thinks 100 men could take a gorilla is off the red, mate.
They can lift something like 1,800 pounds.
Bro, have you seen these gorillas, mate? Yeah.
Bruv, do you know what's so funny about it for me? One, I haven't said this publicly. I will say it now. I am willing, if we can find a venue in a country that would let us host it, and if we can find, PETA, the animal rights people, will be all over this, but I am willing to fund it. I'm willing to crack into my life savings, my pensions, remortgage. I will fund this and televise it, and it will go out live. I just need 100 men that are willing to sign up and sign a waiver, because all these guys giving it online, I don't know what these guys look like. For me, this is what would happen, though. You can get the 100 men in the enclosure, sound off the alarm, and they wind, because initially the gorilla might walk away because they don't want to fight. This is what will happen. All these strategies, and we'll run around till he's tired out, and then we'll do this and we'll do that. Firstly, I don't think any of the idiots realize that the density of their bones and muscles compared to ours, you could punch a gorilla in the face 100 times. Anthony Joshua could punch a gorilla in the face 10 times on the bounce. It doesn't hurt the gorilla. So it doesn't matter. It's not going to hurt him. But secondly, this is what would actually happen. The first person would get grabbed and ripped apart, and the 99 remaining ones would run. No,
literally like that.
They would. It's such a mad. I've enjoyed listening to people's theories, but there are some. Fuad said the funniest thing. I think it was Fuad, where he said you could wait for someone's arm to get ripped off, then you could take out one of their bones out of their arm and make it sharp and stab the gorilla with it. And I'm like, while you're there filing that bone down to make it sharp, right? You're dead. You're dead. That gorilla it's such a funny debate. It's no chance.
That's not fair play, innit? Not fair game, that to me.
Yeah, the thing was no weapons. No weapons. Yeah, but no, for me, I'm willing to fund it. If 100 people see this and they're willing to get into an enclosure with a silverback gorilla in his prime, I will fund it all. We'll televise it and we will watch because part of me, there's a sick part of me that wants to watch the idiots that think they could actually stop him. And I bet there are some blokes, massive blokes, gym heads, roid heads, that think, I'm strong. I could. It's just, please.
Did you see John Jones, what he said? He said, give me 100 of me and we have a slight chance.
No, they don't. They don't, because this is what would happen again. I get where he's coming from, right? Maybe, no, you wouldn't, because one would get on his back and they try and get under the monkey's neck. You can't strangle it, right? They're too strong. What would then happen is, you see the teeth? He bites the arm off the guy strangling him, and every other John Jones runs away. John Jones is running away from Tom Aspinall. What's he fucking talking about? At the end of by the way, John, I don't mean that. I'm sorry, John, because he's the most dangerous man in the world. I shouldn't have said that. Sorry, John. I apologize.
The biggest gorilla ever has weighed in at was 8 foot tall. Its skull was 28.5 inches. That's diameter of its fucking skull. There is no way 100 men, maybe 300, 400, but not 100. Not even that.
No. I just don't think at all, man. Without weapons, you ain't beating the gorilla, mate.
And by the way, for Grant, Terry wants to fund animal abuse. You do realize I'm fucking joking, you moron. It's never going to happen. I'm just pointing out that no one that says they want to do it would actually volunteer. It's all yammer. No one is doing it. Most grown, maybe 100 people, most grown people, if my dog, who is a 50-kilo German Shepherd, approached them growling, most normal people would walk away, let alone a fucking gorilla. It's just
sorry, 850, 15 pounds.
You can't even get 4 people on the street to grab someone who's like attacking a shop. You know, you see it all the time where someone's kicking off and everyone's standing with their phones watching. You can't even find people to jump in then. No one's jumping in to fight a gorilla. Fuck me. It's a bit of a joke, Grant.
And as someone said in the chat, it's probably human abuse because I think the humans just get absolutely cooked.
I think the gorilla in the end of it might enjoy it.
I think
they've got the strength of 20 large men.
Yeah, and this is the thing, though. That people go, yeah, but there's 100 of us. Yeah, but you can't accumulate your strength. And you can't even get, you probably can't even get 20 of you close enough to him. And like I said before, it's that first one. It's that, I've seen, I'm not comparing this to a gorilla, but I remember being young and I was in this bar in Loughton. There's a couple of big, heavy doormen outside. And there was this group of about 25 lads that wanted to come in. I don't know what it's like nowadays, but back then, if you turned up mob-handed, no matter how big or old or how young you were, you didn't get in. And they basically said, no, lads, not tonight. And there was all 25 of them. And most of them were quite skinny little lads, really. But the way they were talking to these doormen, we're like, one of them's getting it. And all that happened was the head doorman chinned one of them out cold. The other 25 ran away. And that's exactly what would happen in this scenario. That gorilla grabs the first geezer. He grabs John Jones. He rips his head off, bites his leg off. Then maybe even worse, because chimpanzees and gorillas both do this when they're attacking, when they've attacked humans. One of the first things they go and rip off is your willy and your balls.
So and then they'll beat someone else with a body.
Yeah. So as soon as imagine he grabs the biggest guy, rips off his bollocks. You're telling me any other bloke staying there and fighting? No, you're all fucking running off crying. But then what I would do is I wouldn't open the enclosure. I'd say, fuck you. Again, Grant, it's a joke. It's a joke. It's metaphorical. It's hypothetical. It's exaggerated. It's not real. Calm down. Grant's sitting home crying. Oh, I'm phoning up Petter. Terry's dog's in trouble. Moving on, we've got some super chats here. You're not seeing Planet of the Apes. They barely won. Because of guns. Guns. Guns.
No weapons allowed, bro.
No weapons. Yeah, if you said 100 men with rifles against one gorilla, yeah, we'd win. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Me versus Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua's in boxing gloves. I'm driving my car at him at 100 miles an hour. Who wins? Like, what are we doing here? Like, I win that fight. Come on, maybe. Everything in football now is system-based. Players enter academies and are coached to play the system. Personality is a rarity with current players because it's coached out of them. Yeah, I think a lot of people agree that Pep Guardiola has ruined football. I agree.
I'm not going to buy it, but yeah, that is facts, yeah. And also the fact that, like, bro, the guys on like in Fortnite and that, no, innit? Do you know what I mean? I'm not being funny, yeah, but like, bro, we used to go out, yeah, and like, go to the park and just like play volleys on the park and that, you know what I mean? Smack a ball against a wall, doing the skills and that, yeah. Whereas now, people want to play Fortnite, people want to play Warzone and that. So they ain't got the tech, man. Like Rooney was not in his house, was he, as a kid playing fucking Call of Duty, bro? He was out on the street playing street football. Because Rooney was a street footballer. That's why he scored all those volleys, man. You ain't learning how to volley like that. You know that goal he scored against, was it Newcastle? Who scored that volley against?
Yeah, he was having an argument with the ref and then just
where he was having an argument with the referee and then slams that volley in from 30 yards. You ain't learning how to do that in training. No, that's not training. Anyone that thinks you learn that at training, nah, you don't know ball, man, or you never played football as a kid. You learn that in the street, on the park, with your mates. Facts. You do not learn that in an academy. You don't learn how to volley it like that in the academy. You learn it on the street. You learn, and bro, obviously people don't do that no more, innit?
No, his goal catalogue is ridiculous.
Because he was a street footballer.
3 goals from his own half.
Well, that's why all you got these Brazilians, back in the day and that. Yeah, they was all doing his skills and that. And now they're looking more like Spain. Like pass. Like, where's the flair, man? Like Neymar, was he the last one? Now you're getting a lot more like that. Where's the fucking Brazil? Where's the skill? Ronaldinho come out, didn't he, and said, I don't like watching it. Or was it Ronaldo? It was either Ronaldo or Ronaldinho.
Ronaldinho said it's the worst Brazil set of players.
Yeah, he said he don't like watching it no more. He said don't like watching it, man.
That's why they're trying to get Carlo Ancelotti, because he's renowned for just letting the players play, not a system.
That makes sense. No, that makes a lot of sense. Joshua Jack here says you can't, Terry, you can't diminish the league when Inter made a Champions League final and semi-final recently. I said in the summer it was a bad deal to sell him, the person who was replacing him. But hey, his goals hurt us. The idea that his goals hurt us was wrong. I wouldn't be looking at Ugarte was never a direct replacement. So Ugarte's come in to do a specialist job, and he's done brilliantly his specialist job. The stats came out today about the amount of possession that he's won back, etc. That's what we needed, and that wasn't what McTominay was good at. Where the mistake is not replacing those goals. I agree, but equally, I'm not diminishing the league per se. But like I feel about a lot of the other top leagues in Europe, it's not about how good the top couple of teams are. It's about what comes after that, and I don't think that once you go outside the top 5 or 6 in Italy, I think physically someone like McTominay is a specimen over there, where in the Premier League, he was one of many. He was just another also run in that regard. You know, the way he runs through some of those midfields, he just wasn't able to do that in the Premier League on a regular basis, bro. This here says, regret such bad analysis. First of all, it was a little bit of a joke based on a tweet, so calm down. He's 23. It's only his second year, so Rice regrets the Arsenal move. I think it would be fair to ask I think some people did say that last summer about Rice when City went on to win the league title. And if Arsenal don't win nothing in the next 2 or 3 years and City keep winning more, it'll be a very fair question to ask Declan Rice one day. Do you regret joining Arsenal? Should you have joined them? I think it's fair. It's been asked of Alan Shearer for 20 years. Does he regret going back to Newcastle instead of joining Man United? It's very, very fair, my friend. Terry, Terry, who would win? You think he means 100 lions or 100 gorillas? I'm going with the gorillas. I'm still going to go with I think they're stronger. And
what? Yeah, the gorillas would rip the lions' heads off.
Yeah, I think they would. And it's you. I know they don't have thumbs like we do, but they can use their hands. Do you know what I mean?
What interesting would be 100 grizzly bears against 100 gorillas.
I think I actually watched an expert on those animals on Joe Rogan talk about it, and I want to say they picked. I think he said the gorillas would win, but if it was polar bears, the polar bears might win. But yeah, by the way, Grant, we're not actually going to set this up and do it. Just so you know, we're not going to set this fight up, my man. Just so you know.
Yeah, me and LB are going to be two of the people fighting a gorilla.
D here has said, tell you're overthinking this. 100 Khabibs are definitely beating up a gorilla. Maybe half of them would perish in the process, but come on now, use brains.
It's ridiculous. What? Because he fought a baby bear that had its claws removed. That was like
not even Dagestan could beat the gorillas, bro. I don't think
you could put 200 cage fighters of the best throughout their pomps, every single one hypothetically. John Jones, Khabib, Conor McGregor, they are getting annihilated by a gorilla. They weigh like 800-900 pounds and can lift 2,000 pounds. There's a thing here on ChatGPT that said the heaviest weight ever lifted by a gorilla is nearly 4,000 pounds.
Yeah, but this is the thing. So where I see where you're coming from is if they were again. I don't, because for me what would happen is the first couple of Khabibs would get ripped limb from limb, and the rest would shit their pants and scatter. They would, as tough as Khabib is, that's when he's going in the ring against other human beings that are similar weight to him, that he's generally stronger than. He is not getting into the ring with something that would kill him in seconds. It's just, come on now, let's use brains. Tell, what is the difference between a bloke and a geezer? Well, a bloke is just a man. A bloke is just a man. A geezer is someone who is considered maybe a little bit more rough and ready, down to earth, working class.
Jack the lad.
Yeah, a bit of a Jack the lad, where a bloke could be anyone, whether you're middle class, working class, 90 or 19. Where a geezer, Danny Dyer is what you would consider a geezer to be. He's a bit more of a geezer. Yeah, geezers are a certain type of person. Yeah, sort of like that, typically. Peak football talk. Ungon Bungo Gorilla. I don't know what that means, but yeah, that's how shit the football season is. We're talking about gorillas. Man's glazing gorillas, you know. Bruv, they smash you up. They smash you up. And by the way, Grant, Garcia is not really going to fight a gorilla. I just need to let you know, Grant, that's not going to happen. There was a big story yesterday, boys. There's a big story yesterday that there was a done deal for Viktor Gyökeres, that Manchester United had agreed the deal with the player. That come from the Football Insider. Interestingly, I'll say straight off the bat, before any Arsenal fans go radio, I don't believe that story is true. I do not believe that a deal has been done. Interestingly, today, though, just food for thought, Arsenal fans here, is Plattenberg has come out and said there is still no agreement with Man United and Gyökeres. He hasn't given United the green light yet. Concrete talks have taken place, though, with Ruben Amorim, who's very keen on a reunion. Other big clubs are in the race. Now, I want to throw this out as a question. I think Arsenal were seen as the favourites. Plattenberg's fairly credible and has said that there's no agreement yet. Real talks have taken place, though. I'm reading that as if Man United do manage to scam this Europa League and they get into the Champions League, there is a chance United could get ahead of Arsenal in this race. How do you guys read that story?
I mean, yeah, Arsenal are obviously favourites, but if you win the Europa League and you've got Champions League money to play with, and the players you're looking at want to play Champions League football, I think this reunion could happen. And if Man United, after this disastrous season, win the Europa League and go and sign Cunha and Gyökeres, you throw a couple of other players in that back line and a midfielder, and you're talking a team that finishes in the top 4. He's a player that comes in. I don't think he's going to score anywhere near the amount of goals he scores in the League of Portugal. I don't think he's going to come over and get 40 goals. But he could quite easily get... I mean, if Chris Wood's bagging 19 Premier League goals this season, he comes in the league, and if you've got creative players around him like Cunha and Bruno Fernandes, he could score 20 league goals quite easily, which is the difference between you finishing outside and in the top 4. But Plettenberg's a very, very good journalist. He's very good on the German stuff, and he gets a lot of stuff right. But I still think Arsenal will be the team. I think if they put 100 million on the table and you put 100 million on the table, regardless if you win the Europa League, I still think he chooses them, because there's a lot higher chance than winning the Premier League.
Yeah, I'm going Arsenal if I'm Gyökeres, mate. Like, I just think that I just look at Højlund and be like, yo, obviously, like, I'm not comparing Gyökeres to Højlund because Højlund scored 9 goals or something for Atalanta, and this guy scored like 40 or whatever. But I'm looking at the principle and saying this Højlund guy was a promising player. He went United, and now he's just washed. And why would you go United over Arsenal right now, who are ready to fight for Champions Leagues, ready to fight for Premier League right here, right now? United aren't going to be doing that for another 2, maybe 3 years minimum. And there's no guarantee that they will do that in 2-3 years. I mean, they might never do it. So, yeah, why you would choose United over Arsenal would be, yeah, just he can't do that, man. Obviously, unless Arsenal don't go for him, but then he's not choosing United over Arsenal. So, yeah, Arsenal, man. And Arsenal should just do it, mate, if I'm being honest with you. Don't mess around. Go and activate the release clause. Did you know what they should do? They should do it, yeah, in the first week of the transfer window. Yeah, imagine the shockwave that would send around English football. Do it on the day the transfer window opens. Sky Sports News, transfer window open. What, Damesh? You telling me we got breaking news? Yeah, Arsenal have already activated the release clause of Gyökeres, bro. Imagine if that happened in the first hour. Imagine English football. Oh my God, we'd be shook. No way. Get that done within a day. And then day 2. Yeah, what happens then? Oh, they're moving mad for a left winger now. Imagine if they had all their business done within the first 10 days. We're all sitting there shook, mate.
If Arsenal were to go out and get it done in the first day or so,
What?
If they go and get it done the first day or so, that just, I mean, the intent. I mean, Liverpool and obviously City fans like yourself will be thinking, hang on, they are serious. But if it drags out and drags out and drags out and Man United win the Europa League, like, they just need to get it done. They need to bring a left winger, probably another midfielder and a striker. If they go and do that, they're right up there again. And there's no excuse. So I don't think Liverpool win the league next year. You know,
I think it's 2-2 to say it's going to win the league personally. But yeah, for me,
you boys,
Arsenal just need to move mad, because I tell you something, right? Winning this league is not just about the players on the pitch, It's about striking fear into the opposition, man. And obviously that's not happened this year necessarily. But if Arsenal can go out there and sign Gyökeres in the first couple of days of the window, go and get a left winger, go and get another midfielder, all within the first 10 days, and there's absolutely zero reason they can't do that. I think everyone will go, there's these guys are serious.
Yeah. Back to the Man United part, I see Arsenal as the favourites right now. I wish we weren't. I love Viktor Gyökeres. I think there's such a top striker in there indeed. I don't want to get too attached to the story from Plattenberg because it'll give me hope, and I just feel more disappointed when he goes to Arsenal as a United fan. But there is that hope, you know, doing up Dumb and Dumber settings, literally by believing in it. But there is hope, and the one thing I think we have as an advantage, it's the only on the pros and cons list. The only thing that's really in our favor is he's played Amorim's system and he knows Amorim, and maybe he wants to play for the manager again. So that's the only way I could see him choosing us over Arsenal, is if for him the main driver is I love playing that football for that manager and I want to go and do it again. What I will say is I can't see that being a bigger driving force than playing to win league titles. Now, this man is 27, about to turn 28. He doesn't have 3 or 4 years. He needs to, I think his next move needs to be to a team where he can go in straight away, start scoring goals to try and get them over the line to win titles. And listen, if we were to get Cunha and we were to get Gyökeres, you add that to our front three, we're a different team next year. We are not a team that's sitting where we are in the league, because I think between those two, just in the Prem alone, you're looking at 35 to 40 league goals minimum between the two of them. We're a different team completely, but I don't think we'd have enough to compete for a league title. It may take another year or two after that with that level of recruitment, that quality of recruitment. But what I am encouraged about from a United perspective is, yes, we're looking at Delap, who's young, but actually a few of the other strikers that we're looking at are a little bit older. And I think United fans have been a bit panicked that every player that we try and sign is going to be a kid, in the same way Chelsea have done it. And Cunha looks to me like I wouldn't be surprised if there was a here we go before the end of the season on that. I just want a few more players of that level that are 24, 25, 26, experience, good quality. If they've got Premier League football already, great, because it means they haven't got to move countries. They may not even have to move too far, depending on where in the UK we get them from. But yeah, it's one of those horrible ones. If Arsenal hadn't been so heavily linked, I'd be really excited. But because of those stories a couple of weeks ago about Arsenal and Gyökeres, I just see him going there. But, you know, I know the window hasn't opened yet, and a lot of us are more probably focused on that than the football, because we're looking towards next season for our clubs. But I'm really happy with the Cunha news. I really hope that happens. And yeah, we'll see who else we get. But unfortunately, I think Arsenal are going to get him. And
the thing is, you've got like financial issues. You don't seem to have like a lot of money to spend. So I think the lap for you seems more likely, given the cost 30 million. And Gyökeres cost what, 60, 65?
Yep, yeah, because you can then, whatever Gyökeres costs, and it'd be a higher salary, you could potentially get the lap and then another player, and we need bodies, you know, Man United. We need bodies, we need physicality.
Exactly. You need a full rebuild, players. Whereas Arsenal just need the cherry on the cake.
Yeah.
That's what they need to do.
No, I agree completely. I completely and utterly agree. It'd be a shame. There's a few super chats here. First, I'll go to the Gorilla super chats in a minute. Sporting are investing 50 million on the stadium, so they won't sell him before the 30th of June. But they have no say, do they? If the buyout clause is triggered, they can't stop it, right?
Yeah, if the buyout clause is active, then they don't get a say in it.
I think is it the Plettenberg, was it Plettenberg or was it Ornstein was saying that it's different. The release clause is different to different leagues. So it's more money for Prem than if it was to go to La Liga or...
Yeah, but the point or question I would ask is, my understanding is with all these buyout clauses is that the club can't say no to them.
No, they can't put money on the table.
Buyout clause, yeah.
He's gone.
Anything less than 80 million and Arsenal should just be paying that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'd be bonkers if they miss out on him.
Sorry, I just watched the most outrageous shot from Johnny O'Sullivan at snooker today I've ever seen in my life.
I've not watched any. I've missed so much of that.
I don't watch snooker as much anymore as I used to when I was younger. I got the time, but it just come from my timeline while you were talking. It's like
He's going for an 8th title, isn't he?
It's like a trick shot. What he just did, I can't even explain it. He gets a red in by making it. He pots a red by making it come off the cushion, but then the white ball clips.
What did you see on Twitter?
And another red. Yeah, just put in Ronnie O'Sullivan's name, you'll see it. Just watch it. If you like snooker, go and watch that clip. That's just
9 minutes ago. Here we go.
Oh my! Yeah, watch it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Ha! Yeah, if you like snooker, you'll like that. Zane here says, Terry, I'm a Milan fan, and I can tell you it's not the league, it's Conte, as he plays Scott almost as a second striker. Even Kvaratskhelia couldn't score like that. I hear you, but I don't think that Scott McTominay would be this driving force in a team playing the second striker and challenging for a title in the Premier League. I just don't think he would be. Just my view. The game broke Big Ange. He has never been the same, and he wasn't connected to the Spurs fans. He should have walked then. Yeah, a lot of money to walk away from, though. This is an interesting thing about Gyökeres and Isak. Did you know that Isak has played 52 games for the national team and scored 16 goals? Gyökeres has played 26 and has got 15 goals.
Isak's played a lot on the left, though. That's like that.
Yeah,
I don't know how they play, because Kulu plays on the right and then have to play Isak on the left and Gyökeres down the middle. But I'll just go 4-4-2 and play them both up top. I'd
like to see Sweden get themselves to a big tournament. And it should be so much easier now. So many teams qualify. Just to be able to watch those two play together, and it would be nice. 100 men versus a gorilla sounds like a round of Squid Games, perfect for season 3. In fact, they could do for real and say it was all done by stuntmen. Yeah, can you imagine they throw that in there now as a challenge? They throw it in as a challenge. On Arsenal tonight, though, boys, how do you see Arsenal getting on against Paris Saint-Germain?
I think they'll get whacked.
You think they get whacked?
I'm joking. I actually have no idea. I actually can't call any of the two ties. I'm so grateful that we've got these semi-finals, because the Premier League.
You think both ties will be close?
Not necessarily close. I just have no idea who's going to win them. Yeah. Look at PSG. Yeah, and I think for me, they have just looked absolutely stunning at points this year. Stunning. That midfield three. Bodoe off the left, Dembele, he's a mad baller as well. Kvaratskhelia come in, unbelievable. I have some question marks about their defense, yeah, but the way they play football is insane. And Luis Enrique, top manager, right? But then you look at Arsenal, I know, and obviously I think Partey is going to be a big miss, by the way, yeah, because I was going to say the power that they have in midfield, where you take Partey out, that's one of the two powerhouses gone. But they still have that power. Gabriel's missing as well, apparently. And they've got Saka, who's phenomenal. So I don't know. I probably slightly favour PSG, but it's like 51%, 49%. And in the other game tomorrow, the Inter Milan Inter Milan Barcelona. I can't call that either. I just think we've got two fantastic ties that could go either way.
I mean, Inter Milan have just been knocked out of the Coppa Italia by AC. They've just lost at home to Roma. And we were talking about them doing a treble 2 weeks ago, and now they're 3 points behind Napoli. I think Barca will be in the final. I think the way they're playing, everyone's scoring goals. Yamal, I mean, he's 3 assists away from breaking the record at Barcelona at 17, which is just stupid, by the way. They are missing Lewandowski, but Ferran Torres has stepped up with big goals, and I can't believe Rafinha's the favourite for the Ballon d'Or. We were just talking about quality. Look on that list of the 10 players you brought up, and we're talking about Rafinha winning the Ballon d'Or. It's bonkers, but I think Arsenal win 2-1 tonight, and the second leg's going to be close. I think PSG would probably take that and all. It's only one goal. You score early in France, game on.
Yeah, I think if look, Paris Saint-Germain win, of course I'll take that. But a draw tonight, Arsenal need to win. I think a draw tonight is better for PSG because of where the away leg is and their supremacy there. Arsenal have to win on tonight. Whether it's obviously they would love another 3-0 like versus Real Madrid, but I think Arsenal need a lead going to Paris. I don't think if it's level, I know they ended up beating Real Madrid, to be fair, 2-1 over there. PSG are a different animal this year. I think they need a lead. At least a goal.
Didn't they score 4 goals past Villa? They're not going to score 4 goals past the Arsenal backline.
No, potentially not. And I don't think whoever goes through in this game, I don't think it's going to be a team. I don't think either will pump the opponent. I know in the end Villa kind of came back in that second half like route, but I think they were much better than Villa. I don't think you'll see that distance between these two teams, which is why I think every goal matters. I've watched PSG so much this season, especially in Paris, and they are just formidable. I know they got beat by Liverpool, but again, you play that game that goes exactly the same way in terms of chances for each team. That was a 4 or 5-0 performance. Yeah. And I'm not saying they'll be that good against Arsenal, but they're capable of that. I think Arsenal need a lead because that changes even PSG's. How do we start the game? Arsenal win 1-0 tonight. PSG can't start in Paris, in my opinion, like a freight train because of the way Arsenal press and they can get caught. It gives the game a better angle for Arsenal, where if they draw or lose tonight, Arsenal, it's very, very difficult. So, yeah, look, I think Arsenal need the win tonight. If they're going to make the final, I think they do need a win tonight.
Yeah, I have no idea, man. Yeah, I mean, like I said before, I'm just grateful that we have these ties in the first place because it is exciting. And I think any one of them could go through. Same tomorrow. My ideal one for the final would be Barca PSG. I think footballing wise, that would be the best football match I think we'd get, because both of them two play unreal football. But Inter Milan are well drilled. Got a good manager. He knows what he's doing. And I hear what Henry's saying, but for the first 20, 30 minutes of that game against AC Milan, they were by far the better team. Lautaro Martinez missed a clear-cut opportunity to get them back in it and didn't take it.
They got too much firepower. They've scored 130 goals this season.
Maybe, but they played against Bayern Munich with Harry Kane, who's been absolute fire this year, and they got past them.
I mean, they are the way they're set up. It's perfect because they're just going to sit up and counter attack, and they've got DeMarco and I can't remember who their right wing back is, but Bastoni's in great form. Bodoe, Martinez, they've got some top players, but I just think Barca have just they've got X factor in Yamal and and the way Rafinha's playing. I think Rafinha's on 16 Champions League goals, which is just it's extraordinary.
Oh yeah, I'd edge it towards Barca as well, but I just think it's another one that
What I love that watching the semi-finals though. I mean, ironically, it's Arsenal were the better of the 4 in this regard, but I watched the Bayern Munich Inter game. Both teams had so many chances to score. Barcelona versus like Dortmund staged a bit of a comeback, and had they not unfortunately conceded their own goal, which was very unfortunate, that could have gone very, very differently. And why I like that, it's not writing anybody off, but for me, it just says that any one of these 4 teams remaining can win it. There's no guarantees on I don't think there's an outright favorite. There might be a marginal favorite, but there's no outright favorite. And I think, as you said, LB, it is so hard to call what's going to happen. I just think it will honestly come down to something so simple. Is the team that is either most clinical or makes the least amount of mistakes. I think it's going to be those two simple things here. Systems will play a part and defenders and everything else, but everyone's going to get chances to score. And it's just about the ones who put it in the back. I don't think you're going to see... I know some people say, well, that's simplistic, Terry. That's every football game. It isn't. Because often when it comes to watching City at their pomp in this tournament, it's City don't even give teams fucking chances to score and you blow them away. I don't think anybody's being blown away in these semi-finals by the other team because there isn't that superiority. So, yeah, I can't wait, man. They're going to be... Tonight's going to be great. Tomorrow's going to be brilliant. And then we've got the 2 donkeys on Thursday. So...
Can you imagine if Arsenal win the Champions League and Tottenham win the Europa League and there's a North London Derby Super Cup?
Barca could not have scored. Barca scored 171 goals this season.
35.
171?
There ain't no way they've scored 107.
No, cannot be. Pre-season? Are you including pre-season?
There ain't no way.
It can't be 171. Sure.
I got 129 across all 7 competitions.
There we go. I don't what fuck where you been, Eddie? What you been reading?
Where have you got 171 from?
89 in the league.
Fucking hell.
I mean, didn't the City did 103 before, didn't they?
We've done over 100 a few times, yeah.
That's crazy, man. This says that was in October when Arsenal beat PSG 2-0. PSG have improved since then. Arsenal hasn't. Well, I mean, look, I think PSG have definitely improved since then. You can't deny that. But you could argue Arsenal have become a far more confident Champions League team because it wasn't a flash in the pan win. They've won games, they've knocked out Real Madrid. And yet, look, but Dembele's in this team now, and Kvaratskhelia is there. Partey's missing, but then Odegaard's in the team. And I know he hasn't been at his best on the ball, but he is still an important part of this side. So, look, it's great, man. I'm so excited about it. I really, really am. This super chat says, I would love to see Arsenal win the Champions League for the first time, but it would be even more amazing if the women's do it at the same time.
Yeah, who did they beat in the set? Was it Lyon in the semis?
Yeah, they smashed Lyon in the second leg. I didn't watch the game. I saw the result. I watched the first leg. I didn't see the second leg. Yeah,
I mean, that'd be saying if the men's and the women's. Be great for them.
Be great for them. Arsenal can take a lead. Got to take a lead to Paris, or it will be too much for them in France because they're a nightmare there.
I disagree with that. I don't
agree.
Nah, I'm not making any like sweeping statements about this game. Like, I think Arsenal could lose tonight and then go and beat PSG in Paris. I think anything could happen. So, nah, I don't agree with that.
Who was the last English team to beat Madrid away?
Liverpool, I think.
And didn't they win it that year?
I think it was the year after. I think that was in 06.
If you can do Madrid away, I know they haven't been the Madrid of normal, but if you can do Madrid away.
Well, they've got the Pope on their side. The Pope dying helped Arsenal a bit, isn't it? That the old omen that's come out that every time the Pope dies, an English team wins the Champions League. Every year that they've died in.
Oh, is that true?
I mean, Robbie read it out. So I don't know where Robbie got it from. I didn't do any research on it, but yeah, those old omens. Who are we sacrificing as the 100 men? I saw a funny video earlier on today. It was his top 5 picks. Please tell me I starred it. I'm not going to play it but it was really funny. I don't know if I starred it. You know when you see something funny and you forget to bloody star the thing. No, I ain't got it. He basically he put KSI in first of all. I don't know why he put KSI in, but he put KSI in there. He put in. His number 1 pick was peak Phil Mitchell. He goes, we've got to have peak Phil Mitchell in there. It was things like that. It was he put that number 4. He said Phil Foden's mum. Goes, she's up for a fight, and there's a few others like that. It was funny. Look, I want to thank everyone who's tuned in. We are going to be live again tonight after the first leg, Arsenal versus Paris Saint-Germain. This is going to redirect you to Footy Judge Mo's stream, so go and support my brother over there. Thank you for stepping in for Potsy today, Henry. Really do appreciate it. LB, mate, always a pleasure to sit and speak football with you. For everyone who's tuned in, I want to say a big thank you. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Peace.